Hi guys, I've got something I want to share with you guys that I've wanted to share for quite some time, but deciding on when the right time was going to be was always going to be quite difficult. Now the reason I'm making a video is because I don't necessarily see all you guys, or I won't see you all at the same time, but what I would like to do is speak to everyone individually, but it's so so hard to actually go through the whole process of finding everyone one by one, going through everything over and over again. What I want to talk to you about doesn't really have anything to do with work. As a lot of you may know, I try to keep my private life outside of work. Unfortunately, sometimes there is a crossover. Sometimes people might see stuff elsewhere, so you might know what I'm going to talk to you about, you might not. But I'm going to share something with you that's very personal to me. Hope you understand how difficult this video has been to make, how difficult it is to tell everyone my story, and hopefully, well, I'll tell you the story and then we'll see from there. So basically in October last year, October 2017, I unexpectedly had to take a little bit of time off. Now in the summer last year, my wife and I found out that we were due to have another baby. Some of you may not know, some of you may know, I have a big family. I love having a big family, and we were due one more, and we were excited about it. So just after our 12-week scan, we went to Spain for a fortnight. Whilst we were on holiday in Spain, my wife experienced a little bit of a bleed, and then she had to go to hospital in Marbella, accompanied by someone that was looking after our apartment so that we could get past the language barrier there, where she was diagnosed with what's called a subchronic hematoma. Now I'll tell you the definition on this is basically it's a clot formed by blood pulled between the chorion, which is the membrane surrounding the embryo, and the uterine wall, and this occurs in approximately 1 to 3 in every 100 women. Out of the 1 to 3 out of every 100 women, 1 in 13 or 14 of them women would experience anything where that would change anything to do with the outcome of the pregnancy, whether it would cause anything to do with premature labour or whatnot, but usually what would happen is the blood would either absorb back into the body or the clot would come away, causing no bother. Okay. Now what happened was, we come back off holiday. She went to back to hospital, had it all confirmed that there was a subchronic hematoma there, and everything was explained that most of the time nothing happens. They don't really know why it occurs. We had no information, so of course understandably you can see why my wife and also me, you're quite nervous about the situation. It doesn't matter how many times you've had a baby, when you're informed of things that you have no familiarity with, of course it's going to be a bit of a journey of the unknown, shall we say. So at 20 weeks we were obviously due the gender scan. We didn't, before that we went privately, with everything being so up in the air. We found out that we were having a little girl. This then meant that our numbers in our house were going to be even again. Our 6-year-old girl, when we did the gender reveal to our family, we had black balloons, and we had the colour pink inside the balloon. When the balloons popped, obviously she saw it was pink. She burst into tears. She was desperate for a sister. This was amazing, obviously, to see how the rest of the family were encouraging. They were excited about the birth, excited about having another sister. So like the last jigsaw piece to our puzzle, I guess. On the 16th of October, it was my youngest son's first birthday. Now, on his birthday, we're, you know, having a party, video and everything. His first birthday, we were singing happy birthday. And then party finished. She's just getting him and his older brother ready for bed. And she felt a little bit of a rush of blood. So what the protocol was if you ever feel anything like that, you go to hospital and then we'll deal with that. So kids were put to bed, we went to hospital. Basically it was about 9 or 10 PM, we were waiting there, hanging about, talking to the doctors there, and she had a what would you call it, an examination. Then they told us that the blood had come away, which was obviously a good thing. Now what we had to hope for was it didn't cause contractions for our baby then to start moving. Unfortunately, the doctor told us that her membranes had moved into the birth canal, and this then meant that our daughter was going to be born at 22 weeks and 5 days. At the time, they told us 24 weeks was the cut-off for viability, which we've since found out that 23 weeks is the cut-off of viability, and that's a guideline, but that's another story. So at 22 weeks and 5 days she was to be born, and should she come out breathing, they wouldn't help her. They wouldn't help her to breathe, they wouldn't help her to survive or anything. It would be a case that she would be offered comfort care, I think it's called, or cuddle care, which would basically mean that we would hold on to her until she passed away. 2:53 AM on the 17th of October, so we had one child born on the 16th of the 10th, 16, and then we had another one born on the 17th of the 10th, 17, which is something quite nice for us. But at the same time, you know, obviously, as you can imagine, the whole situation is pretty tough. She was born 2:53 AM. She lived for almost 2 hours, and then unfortunately she passed away. From that moment, obviously we're in the unknown. We're in a matter of 5 hours. We're in a point where we're not expecting what they call a spontaneous abortion to happen, because it happens before the 24 weeks. Our world has turned completely upside down. Now we've ended up going to a point where we've had to say goodbye to our daughter, showered her with as much love as we possibly could for the whole entire 2 hours, and then had to say goodbye, and then at that point we didn't know what was going to happen, and I was expecting that I was going to be going home to sort my kids out for school and then come back for her. What happened was I had to go home and break the news to the rest of my children, which again, as you can imagine, isn't the nicest or easiest job to do. And my wife stayed in the hospital until I could come visit her later on. Almost immediately before I went, the midwives brought through a memory box, and the memory boxes are full of beautiful little things like you can have their handprints and footprints taken of your baby. There's photos that are taken. There's a couple of little teddies, one that you keep and one that you give to your baby. There's several other things in there that I can't really remember. and then most importantly was what's called a cuddle cot. Now, a cuddle cot is like it's plugged in machine. It's like a cooling blanket. So we had a Moses basket for our little girl, and the cuddle cot sits in it, and she lies on top of that, and it's designed to delay the setting in or setting on of rigor mortis, which obviously then means that you can have a little bit more time with your child. A lot of people obviously go through this. It's not just for people that have gone through child bereavement with a child that's come out breathing. Some children are, you know, are born sleeping. Some children pass away during birth or just after, and some obviously can live a few days. But the whole thing is designed for families going through that they're not rushed to say goodbye to their angels. They can, you know, have time to deal with what's going on in the present time and not be rushed to say goodbye. This was obviously helpful for me too. Even though I had to go home and deal with the rest of my family, I still got to come back as much as I could to see her. But you know, primarily my wife was the one that was carrying Autumn. This is what we call our little girl, Autumn Orion. Autumn for the time of year, and the Orion was it's for when the kids, as they grow older, and they'll look into the sky for the stars, so it's Orion from Orion's belt. Yeah, it was just so that she got to spend more time in the hospital with her. She stayed in for another 72 hours. Like I say, she was the one that carried her. She was the one that had to give birth to her, and obviously had a bigger connection with her than I could have possibly anyway at that time. So you know, like I say, tough time to deal with, tough time to go through. All of these beautiful things afterwards, the cuddle cots and the memory boxes, are brought to the hospitals free of charge by a charity called For Louis, which is based locally in Washington. Now, Washington aim to provide all the hospitals in the northeast, but they all try to go nationwide with all this. Great little charity. I've looked into it. They take on volunteers and everything, but it is just a small charity, and it was all started from a little boy called Louis who was born sleeping, and his parents, they didn't have this comfort and that, and they felt that was their destiny and path, that they should then try to comfort and help other parents that go through that, so that they didn't have the struggles that they did initially. So what basically the whole point of me sharing this story with you guys, I know it's quite a long video and I apologise for that, but I hope anyone that's stuck by to you know, to watch this, see where I'm coming from, I appreciate that, and any support gained off this would be, you know, obviously immense and fully appreciated. My job now is to give back to this charity that's done so much for me and my wife and my family. I was put out of my comfort zone by life, you know, just like other people are, 100%. You know, other people are put into shit situations. I now want to put myself out of my comfort zone by choice. I want to do this in memory and, you know, in honour of my little girl, Autumn. I have a plan of doing a challenge, and the challenge for me is going to be the 3 Peaks. Now, the 3 Peaks, if nobody knows about it, is the highest peak in Scotland, England and Wales, which are Ben Nevis, Scafell Pike and Snowdon, all to be summited and travelled between in a 24-hour period. Now, I know what most people think. They look at me and think, he's not built for that. And this is right, I'm not. But like I say, I am willing to go out of my comfort zone. I have somebody to do this for, not just her. I need to do this for me, I need to do this for my family, and I want to do this for the charity that helped us so much in the first place. So my aim is to raise enough money to be able to provide a cuddle cot in memory of Autumn, ideally one minimum. They cost roughly £1,500. What I'm doing is I've set up a Just Giving page. I've also got a text line. Okay, so as you can see on here, the text is text AUTM84, and then you put the value that you would want to donate, and you can change that. I don't mind if anyone gives £1, £2, whatever, anything that I can raise is better than nothing. Okay, I know there's some people out there that will donate £10, £20, and like I say, it would be gratefully received. Text AUTM84 plus the amount to 770. Like I say, this is in supporting bereaved parents with a charity called For Louis. The point of me making the video and that, like I say, it's a hard thing for me to talk about. I keep my private life out of work as best I can. Something that's happened that's, you know, that has affected a lot of people that are close to me, family, friends. There are some people obviously that I work with that you will know about this. Some of you may have already seen this on Facebook, etc. You know, what I'm asking for really now is the best part of support I could possibly ask is that people back me, sponsor me, whether you do it online, whether you I've got a sponsorship form as well, whether you sponsor me in person, that's great. I'll be honest, every time someone mentions money, I'm going to be pushing it as much as I can. I'm looking to be doing this in August, just after the bank holiday. It's something I'm excited for, it's something I need to focus on. What I don't need from people is obviously, that sounds a bit bad when I say it like that. What I don't want to be off people, I don't need everybody's sympathy and expecting me to break down. I'm not concerned about things like that. If you want to show me some support, the support I would like is obviously back me in doing this. I know a lot of people do things for charity, and the reason, like I say, I'm doing this video to you guys is I've known a lot of you for a long time. Yes, for a lot of people that are watching this will be able to understand. They've come to me and I've helped them as much as I possibly can, advised them, sat with them, listened to them, whatever, in some people's times of need. Not everybody's, but in some people's times of need. Now, if there's one thing I could say now, this is my opportunity to reel in every favour that I've ever done for somebody else. This is every time someone's thought I owe him one and whatnot. This is, as you can understand, the thing that I want to rein everything in on. I want, as a minimum, like I say, to raise that, and it's not just from you guys. I'd appreciate anything that anybody gives. Like I said, there'll be people that are watching this that don't know me. There'll be people that have known me a long time. But if you've got friends and family that have been affected by things like this, obviously you'll understand. It's a great charity, it's a local charity. At the very least, if I can't convince you to donate to me and you have your own chosen charities, I fully understand. I do fully understand. But I would urge you, even if it could be possible to donate in my daughter's memory, you know, please give to somebody, give something back and make a difference, because these little things, you never know where your world is going to turn, and it could be in a matter of minutes everything changes. So sorry, I've done a 20-minute video which I didn't expect to be doing, but we all know I'm a talker. I appreciate you listening, I appreciate your time, so I'll see you all soon. Thanks very much. Bye.